This is the Kalighat section of Calcutta. There is a temple here named after Kali, the Hindu goddess of death and destruction. Hindus from all over India make pilgrimages to this temple. The destitute come here to beg and to die. In 1952, the city of Calcutta gave Mother Teresa what was at one time a Hindu pilgrim's rest house. She renamed it Nirmal Hriday, pure heart, and used it for the destitute and the dying. This was the most difficult of all Mother Teresa's houses to confront. Many of the patients were a few hours from death. They were receiving, perhaps for the first time in their lives, the kind of human care that gave them a sense of dignity and self-worth. The missionaries of charity are not in the business of converting. Hindus, Muslims, Buddhists are all cared for here. The patients practice their own religions and are buried in accordance with their customs. Mother Teresa does not encourage Westerners to come to India to help her. If they show up and have the necessary skills, she sends them to the house of the dying. We talked to one such volunteer, Dr. R.C. Smith, a British co-worker.
I had to retire from general practice early because of a couple of heart attacks, and I reckoned I'd had enough warning for any man. And I really wasn't very well, and it was suggested I should come out here and work with Mother Teresa. I've been interested in terminal care. And I did really rather reluctantly, to be truthful, because I didn't think my health would stand it. I came out for 3 weeks, and the 3 weeks extended to 6, and I got better and better and better as time went on. This was last autumn, and I just haven't looked back since. So that, it just took me right out of myself.
We asked the doctor about the patient next to him.
Well, I hope he doesn't understand English, but it's very, very poor. He's 25 now. If he's alive in 5 years, he'll be lucky. TB. And starvation. I mean, the two things go together. They're the diseases of poverty. A lot of them are just so ill that they just exist from day to day. But when they do start to pick up, then you can begin to reach the person. Then they'll smile and they're happier than they were. And of course, when Mother comes round, it's marvelous because everybody lights up. She has that gift. And she sees Christ in every person that she treats. And she inspires that same belief in those who work for her. And so you forget yourself because she submerges herself. So she has this enormous power to spread love and affection and caring wherever she goes. I mean, I have no doubt that she will be a saint as soon as it's possible to become a saint. I don't know very much about the technique, but once she's dead, she'll be a saint.
The headquarters of Mother Teresa's order is located in one of the busiest sections of Calcutta. It's called the Mother House. Novices study and train here to do work with the poor. When they take their final vows, not all will work in India. Many of these young sisters will find themselves in major cities of the West, working with alcoholics, elderly shut-ins, drug addicts, battered women, and what Mother Teresa believes is the biggest illness in the West, loneliness.
Any anger, any dislike toward another person.
One of their counselors is Father Bill, a North American priest who came to India 5 years ago to work with leprosy patients.
And if there is anything in your own lives, people that you're working with, people that you're living with, where there is a negative thought or there's little anger, someone has abused you, someone has taken advantage of you, someone has lied to you, it's very easy to have a hostile feeling toward that individual. A person cannot grow in love, a person cannot grow in peace, and a person cannot grow in joy as long as that hostility or that anger or that negative thought is within you. It has to be settled now. It has to be forgiven now. You have to release it now. And what takes place? What's a gradual transformation in your own life, discipline, and that's when you can start living in peace. That's when you can really start having joy. To bring this richness to the poor, to bring this richness...
I wanted to talk to Father Bill about his experience.
Father Bill, you have called Mother Teresa a benevolent dictator, and you should know.
Yes, I use those words in a very good way. Mother Teresa is a very competent person, and she abandons herself completely to God. And I guess she just follows her inspirations. And when she has an inspiration to do something, to start something, she does it, and she informs the others. You know, this is the way it's going to be done, I guess. This is what we're going to do. This is where we're going to open. This is where you're going to go. But I think I'm seeing something more than a benevolent dictator. I'm seeing, if I could use another word, a benevolent coach now. She is coaching the sisters on. She's coaching the world on. You know, she's not dictating, but she sort of is inspiring, just as the coach is there behind his team, you know, pushing them on. She can speak to 50,000 people, or 5 people, or 1, and there's something happens. They're inspired.
Now it was time to meet the coach.
Very nice to meet you. I'm fine. I've been waiting for you. Very good. Come. I didn't expect you to be so little. I expected you to be 10 feet tall.
Mother Teresa was making plans to visit a small village where she donated part of her Nobel Prize money, and she asked me to accompany her. Then she received word that there was a problem.
His father has written that the bridge has been broken. And so he said that if we come by ambulance...
Can we go around?
No, if we come by... They will, the authorities will allow us to by the ambulance. You go with sister and show the man the big bus. Oh, and ask him if that will be allowed to cross. Because if that is allowed, otherwise we would have to bring the ambulance also and the car, and then just use the ambulance to cross.
With these uncertainties, we set out the next day for the jungle, where the landless people have little to eat, and some no place to live. It was a 3-hour ride in oppressive heat on bumpy roads.
But this is very narrow all along here.
Very bad road.
In the vicinity of the damaged bridge, the authorities had stopped all heavy traffic. Other buses had been blocked all morning, their passengers waiting in the sun. But Mother Teresa is no stranger to trouble. She convinced the authorities that the broken bridge would support foot traffic and that our empty bus could cross safely.
We'll pass here and then we'll get into the car.
You're very good at directing traffic.
Very good.
It would be another hour after crossing the bridge before we arrived at the village where she donated her first Nobel Prize money to build houses. Hundreds of people were waiting to greet Mother Teresa. Some had walked 20 to 30 miles from neighboring villages to pay homage. In India, there is a belief that the very sight of a holy person brings a blessing. In the presence of such a person, Hindus will prostrate themselves and try to touch their feet. The custom is called darshan. Mother Teresa reciprocated by touching as many of the people as she could. Even in the poorest of villages, guests are always welcomed with gifts of food. Father Gabric is the local priest, a native of Yugoslavia who has worked in India most of his life. They took this opportunity to converse in their native language. Father Gabric has been a friend of Mother Teresa's for 50 years.
Father Gabric, when you first knew Mother Teresa as a very young woman, did you see the potential for what she was going to be?
No, surely not. That was a mystery and a revelation to all of us. But once she started, then you connect. Oh, that's exactly.
Yes,
you see, that was the way, she was doing. She was teaching the girls that spirit of abnegation, and no question of fooling about religious life and everything. Then you realize, you see how God was preparing her already. At least those few years I knew her in Italy, and especially that courage in the beginning, as you know, she was ostracized practically even by religious people.
When she went out into the streets
they
alone
wouldn't
with
wish
5
her.
rupees.
Yeah, they wouldn't wish her even good morning. It went so on because many thought that she was half cracked. And very often when the first house, she lived in Creek Lane on the 3rd floor up there, I used to go to say Mass. Yeah, to say Mass over there. And there were only a few, and the way they live and people talking all kind of, what is this and that. There I realized that she is a saint. Saint is not only who makes miracles, but saint who can stand all this, in these problems with a smile. And she did it.
And she was never afraid?
No. She was absolutely sure God was with her, and I think that's everybody of us we need in our life. I think of it. Why should we be afraid? Is there any reason for being afraid? I think so. It doesn't help you to be afraid. You get headache over it.
What do you think a saint is?
Really, to be a saint, it's so simple, and it's so also difficult, because simplicity is very difficult. We are so artificial nowadays. We complicate our life and our, relation to God and to man. To be saint is to be simple to God, simple to ourselves also. I tell the people day and night. Suppose there was no night. The day would be, really too still and too common. But there is a night. That's why the day is so, morning is so beautiful after a night. Same thing in our life. Last year on Easter, I had 3 masses, evening meal, before there was no time to eat. And they brought me, there was bit rice and 1 egg. That was all very poor people, that was 1 egg. And there were 3 small kiddies of the village, of the house, they sat around me. And they were looking at that egg, and looking on this side and looking that side. So what I did, I took that egg and made it in 4 pieces, you see. And each one of us had a bit of it. And believe I had a good meal.
We talked about the Nobel Peace Prize and Mother Teresa's gift to the people.
So when Mother mentioned, I was listening at the radio when she was getting that prize in Oslo, and Mother really took it out of my heart. He says, but people ask her, Mother, what are you going to do with this? I says, I'm going to build the houses for the poor. I did. Honestly, I was listening here because I knew that it was time. It was such a perfect transmission that day. And she gave me immediately this 50,000, and we have bought bamboo, straw. It is going full speed. In about a week, 2 weeks' time, everything will be finished, all these houses.
So they don't have to live in mud houses?
Mud houses there will be, that we keep, that is their life. That's nothing wrong in that. But very often there is not even a house. I mean, it's something that you cannot imagine that a man can live there. So at least a decent man, that a family, they have certain respect, you see, that as a human being they live. Bachara keu bitre jabe na, onurot kori. Keu bitre jabe na, mother of Amra, you see that, just to see, keu bitre jabe na, the sister of me. Hey, ke ache barite, Hey. Aha, Joel Kotefel. Ah, just, you see, that's a small house. Michael, they wanted, you see?
I came to see your houses.
Yeah, beautiful, huh?
Those that you bought
This
the
is
Nobel
the gift,
Peace
that's
Prize.
right.
Nobel Prize houses. Now, you see, there is the mat. There is a mat, no furniture, wall of mud, and they every day with cow dung. You see, they polish it nicely, wash it. These are small houses, and you can see it. This is all veranda.
How much does it cost? This?
A big house like this, fully, it will cost more than close to 2,000 rupees.
2,000?
Bamboos, mother. Bamboos is expensive. Formerly, bamboos used to be cheap. Cement, mother, they ask you 53 rupees now. Nothing, that's why I'm waiting. You saw it. You saw it, no? We'll see, just see it now. I couldn't put...
2,000 rupees per house is equivalent to $250. Mother Teresa asked Father Gabbridge to build more houses for less money. She was concerned that these new homes would create envy and friction in the village. Having experienced Mother Teresa's work with the lepers, the orphans, the sick, and the homeless, I returned to Calcutta for an interview with this remarkable woman.
We come to you all over the world to see newspapers and magazines and books. What do you think we are seeking?
That is, I suppose you are seeking to prove the reality of God's love. That God still loves the world so much.
I think we also want to find something in you and in the brothers and the sisters that maybe in the Western world we do not find it.
No, I don't think so. But I think what you are looking for, that really God love the world in real, because the work is nothing but our love for God in action.
And you see people coming to you to take from you for their own ends, because you are, no, you cannot see that.
What did you come for? What is your aim?
What is my
What is your aim in coming?
My aim? I really wanted to see for myself, to open up, because I was closed. And, closed. To open up and to feel the sisters and the brothers and to see for myself.
No, but to open up just like that. So there must be the opening for some other reason. Opening up, by opening yourself, you want to share something with the other. Because everybody cannot come from America. Neither the means do they have, neither the way, nor the time to do what you have come to do. So your aim is to receive something sure, for sure, something real. And go back to your country and give it to the people, share with the people.
Absolutely.
So.
But you see, there is the personal feeling also.
Oh, you are enriched by coming.
Yes.
You are very much enriched. You have received much more than you have given.
I believe that.
So you have given your time, maybe you have given your money, but I think you have been enriched with something mysterious, in which there's no explanation. I think American people and European people, they have much. And very often that muchness, if there is a word of muchness, that muchness is suffocating. And they are longing to be free, to face this, what you are facing today.
Yes, there is.
And that is why what you have received, you must be generous and giving it with your whole heart and soul. Don't hold this to you.
But I have been walking through Calcutta and your houses of love, and I've been saying, why must I suffer so? Why not me? Why not you?
Because you are unworthy. I am unworthy.
Unworthy?
Yes.
Of suffering so much?
Because
would you
God knows what would happen, because you and I will not be able to bear like that.
Now, how do you...
We have two. I'm sure. God knows better. That's why He doesn't give us. Because He gives us something and immediately we try to get rid of it.
Try to make our lives better.
Yes. Then we make up. Something is missing, we make up with something else. But they have nothing else. This is the content. It's difficult to explain. Very difficult. But then, and I think what is with our people, they're very close to God. They have a pure heart.
When I was growing up, we used to see motion pictures or lectures on starving children in India. And there was always a feeling of poor little things, but totally separate. I was separate.
Yeah.
And I think that the whole society was separate looking at them.
Yeah.
Look at that dear little face. It didn't affect them.
No, but they never thought of giving, of sharing.
Oh, you gave your allowance.
No, like that.
Yes.
From the abundance. But they never gave until it hurt. That's why there was no connection.
Why does it have to hurt? You said till it hurt.
It has to hurt. Love, to be true, has to hurt.
You think married love has to hurt?
Yes, it has to hurt. That giving of self to each other, it's a hurt. It's a hurt. And then childbirth is a hurt.
Yes.
And you have to work for it, your anxiety and all that's hurting. How will the child grow? The child gets sick. It's hurting. Something for us. It's hurting us to see our people die like that. To see them. This morning I saw the man sitting in front of our gate, waiting to die, I think. So we have to send for the ambulance to take.
But
it's hurt. When you see somebody suffer like that, it hurts. Then you want to do immediately something. And if you take the trouble to phone, to do this, to that, that concern is hurting you because you have to give up something else to be able to do that. Unless you do that sharing, then you can't do anything.
in all the things that I've read about you, you've said that your past, the beginnings, all of that are unimportant.
No, not important.
Why not?
Because it's very important for you to, you can know me. One person to know it's easy, but very difficult for you people to know the poor. You don't know the poor. And I want you to know the poor. They are the important. I think the greatest injustice that we have done to them is that we have deprived them of the human dignity. And we think of them as good for nothing, as lazy, as thieves, and all. And that's not true.
And we humiliate them.
And we humiliate. Because by taking away their dignity and respect, we deal with them as if they were animals.
Have you ever
If I am only Mother Teresa, I wouldn't get that Nobel Prize. But because I'm working for because I'm given to the poor, that's why. And that is why it's a real proof that is given to the poor. Anybody with a little bit of common sense will come to that knowledge.
Have you ever thought about how many children you have out in the world?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But there is a joke here. They say Mother Teresa the whole time is talking about abortion, about natural family planning. But she herself is not practicing. Every day she has more and more children.
Something is either very right or very wrong.
Very right, very right.
At Shishubhavan, you have some unwed mothers that still remain there and work as volunteers.
No, we keep them for as long as the baby is healthy enough. And then we rehabilitate them. We don't keep them for long.
Rehabilitate means what?
Either we try to get them married to that person, if it is possible, or make the peace between the parents and them, or so on, or send them back. Most of them go back, as we did in Bangladesh.
If you find a husband for them, do you give
yes,
them the dowry?
Yes, we give them in marriage, yes. Dowry we don't give, but we give them all that they need, a golden ring and chain and earrings and all the things that they need in the married life, bedding and all, as the mother would give. So most of our children, now that are getting married, and now we have bought a plot of land and we're getting them to build their own houses so that they can settle for life. Very beautiful.
You said the greatest poverty is right in our homes.
Yes.
And
but I see the loneliness in the family. See now, if you go to a family, so many institutions are filled with old people. Before they used to stay in the family, now they're put in the institution. The mother and father are working. Child comes back from school, no one to receive the child. Child goes back to the street, takes drugs. This is the whole circle. And if we have difficulties today with the young people, it's because of the home. And if we have this disturbance in the world today, it's due to the family life. We have so many broken homes for that reason.
yes.
Yeah, because there's no one to help the child to be loved.
But you and the brothers and sisters are really not like anybody else. You must...
We're sinners, of course. That's why we need confession. Very much so. And that's the great mercy of God, that in spite of our sinfulness and our sins, He still trusts us, He still loves us. He still claims us as His own. That's the beauty of God's mercy and love.
I cannot believe that you have ever sinned.
Oh, very much too. My goodness.
I mean, I know I have.
I know also.
You do.
Of course. But that's the greatness of God's love, that in spite of that, He still loves. He loves tenderly.
He has a sense of humor about us.
Yes, I think so.
Poor sinners.
Yeah, Little Flower said that even if my sins were scarlet red, I was still trusting completely.
Three months after Mother Teresa received the Nobel Peace Prize, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi arrived at the presidential palace in New Delhi to witness another honor for Mother Teresa. When she began her life's work with the poor 32 years ago, Mother Teresa became an Indian citizen. Today, she will be the first European-born recipient of the country's highest honor, the Bharat Ratna, the jewel of India.
Bharat Ratna, Mother Mary Teresa Bojaxhiu.
What is the explanation for Mother Teresa's remarkable achievements? Perhaps it is her universal compassion, her ability to empathize with anyone, to love each unconditionally. The unique strength of this love is that it never discriminates, it is never judgmental, and it asks nothing in return.
God bless you. Thank you. Thank you.
It is a revolutionary kind of love that she advocates. She is challenging the values by which most of us live. But to see the power of that love emanating from this small woman and those who work with her suggests that some of the answers to the problems of human existence may well be found in the world of Mother Teresa.
Now, the only point is when Mother breaks for lunch around 12:30, I want you all to join us for lunch. So we'll have to tie up and see. I'll keep somebody. No, that's no problem.
ভদ্রতা দেখাবো তো দয়া করে আস্তে আস্তে যাবেন যুবকেরা আপনারা দেখবেন যেন সঙ্গে সঙ্গে যায় মেয়েরা তোমরা বড় বড় দেখা করো
Maybe you begin to know first the poor of your own family. And next door neighbor, do you know who is next door neighbor? And then pass on. From your neighbor, pass on in the street you live. Photo 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you, Malo. You have all grown so big, eh? Mother chinte parche na tomare. Kya to boro hai cho, huh?
And now, before the commencement of the sports meet, our mayor, Kosovo will speak a few words.
S moje strane, majko, znate, nikakvi građani, ne može, ja ću reći sestri, da se ono ništa o tom ne misli. Majko, ako sam za koga molio toliko.
Acha, very good, Vincent, very good.
Prize, Kosovo Company. Katak and Company.
Such a small thing.
Third prize, Anthony and Company. Anthony and Company.